How's it going, guys? Mozidesigner here, and today I'm going to be doing something a little different. This is my first attempt at a video review, and the game I'm going to be reviewing is My Friend Pedro, an awesome action-packed side-scroller from Dead Toast Entertainment and published by Devolver Digital. I'm probably very late to the party on making a video review for this game, but this is my first time doing one, so bear with me and let's talk about the game. And hopefully you enjoy my first video review, so let's dive into it. So what is My Friend Pedro? Well, Pedro, your friend, is a banana, and Pedro is your guide on a quest which can be basically summed up as a quest for vengeance. The intro of the game is pretty straightforward. It teaches you the basics of wall jumping, which is the main move set that you need to use to get to different parts of levels. It teaches you the camera controls and the initial gunplay that gets expanded upon in later parts of the game. I did have some trouble with the camera controls, but eventually it made sense and I got the hang of it, and things were pretty easy from there on. To summarize what kind of game this is, it's best to say it is a mix of a few different games in my opinion. It has a feel of Hotline Miami with a quick gun combat. There's a touch of Max Payne, as you can use what is called focus to slow down time, to pull off some interesting combat moves. The platforming aspects and level design remind me of Mega Man, and the overall flow and style, in my opinion, has some resonance with Matrix films. On the note of films, My Friend Pedro can also be summarized as Deadpool Light. You are a guy in a suit who is a badass and is very effective at eliminating enemies with style and flair. The game is not that long, but I think it is highly replayable given the flow, fantastic level design, and killer soundtrack. I'll share snippets of it during the review as I don't want to get a strike for sharing too much music for too long, but I highly recommend checking out the soundtrack for this game. It's really cool. Since my background is in level design, let's talk about that. Honestly, I think it's fantastic. The layout and flow of the levels works very well with the different movesets given to the player. The main moveset is wall jumping. Using the skill, the player can bounce between walls and get to different locations in the level. In addition, there's also a crouch roll that allows the player to move through small gaps located in different levels. By far the coolest move in the game is the bullet dodge, which looks like something out of a Michael Jackson music video. The spin move looks so awesome, and combined with interesting combat moves, gives the player the feeling of being a badass, which you already are, but it's just accentuated even more. And it's very cool when it's no big deal to spin dodge bullets, target two enemies at the same time, and wall bounce from spot to spot. Along with the movesets to traverse the interesting layout designs, quite a few of the levels have a mix of puzzles that require the use of either platform or pulley systems to open different paths. Lever systems that can be used by the player or shot to be activated depending on the direction it's facing. In addition, later on in the game, there are level hazards that can be temporarily deactivated, allowing the player to proceed further. The unique combination of these level puzzles really add to the level design and layout, as each puzzle gets harder and harder, but it gets more challenging, and with more challenge, the game definitely becomes more fun. Definitely has a Mega Man vibe where it introduces something to you, kind of practice it a few times, and then you become a master of it. Something I talked about in my Dark Souls video. If you haven't checked that out, go see it. I talk about the concepts of introduce, practice, and master. This game really highlights them very, very well. Not only are there interesting traversal mechanics and puzzles, but there's also addition of what I would call combat modifiers. So aside from just shooting, the player can use a kick ability. This can be used at close range to kick an enemy, but can also be used to launch objects towards enemies such as knives, basketballs, giblet remains of other enemies, and a skateboard. Yeah, the game has a skateboard, and some levels really use it too, with half pipes and ramps that make the already interesting combat ballet even more interesting. So on top of the basic movesets, the puzzles, and combat modifiers, there's also a cool mechanic to ricochet bullets. This can be done by either kicking a frying pan and shooting it to bounce bullets off of it, or shooting these hanging metal plates which can be directed bullets towards AI that are located above or below you. So these two things really add another layer to the combat design, and their placement also adds for a very interesting level design of how you can take out AI without even seeing them. The enemy types are somewhat varied, but they're not overly challenging once you get the hang of the mechanics and the combat moves. With each level, your arsenal will grow. You start off with pistols, and then you progress towards machine guns, shotguns, assault rifles, and finally a sniper rifle. The pistols have infinite ammo and can be dual wielded. The machine guns are also a dual wield weapon. As you progress through each level, you'll get a rank and a score based on how well you did. At the end of the series of levels, there will be a boss fight. And I believe, as most games like this, the better you use your skills and abilities and how fast you completed it, you'll get a higher score. If you take your time and learn things, you get a lower score. So honestly, I really didn't care too much what score I got. I'm not really that kind of a gamer, but for those who really want to get to that pinnacle of perfection, S rank, or I think S plus is the highest, and it's achievable at all the levels. So if you're that kind of a gamer, this game really lets you do that, of trying to become the best you can in each level of the game. On the topic of boss fights, they were very well executed. I won't spoil too much, as it's really best to experience the game and the boss fights in your own way. But the presentation, visual style, and music, and the varied gameplays from the boss fights make all of them interesting. I'll share a little bit of the first boss fight here, but again, I highly recommend you go play the game yourself and experience it. It's really cool. Along with the music, it just adds up to a very cool experience that is in My Friend Pedro. Overall, the story is not that interesting. It's a loosely tied narrative to get from one mission to the next, but that's fine for a game like this. Story, I think, takes a backseat, and what shines is the gameplay and the art. This is one of those titles where the team really made gameplay king and level design king, and everything else followed in that tone to set the gameplay that you get to experience in My Friend Pedro. Along with level design, you have to give big props to the art, as even though it's a 2D game, the 3D style, backdrops, lighting, effects really add to that tone and style of what makes My Friend Pedro an awesome game. It really has that sort of late 80s, early 90s vibe, and the techno music, rock techno music sort of really keeps you going, pumps your adrenaline, and you really want to jump off walls and pull off cool combos in the spaces provided by the team. So this is my first video review. Hope you guys enjoyed it. And for this game, if I have to give it a score, I would give it a 9 out of 10. It's awesome, it's fun, and it's highly replayable. I played it on Steam, but it is also available on Switch, so you can have your wall bouncing, slow motion, dual wielding combat on the go. Hopefully you guys enjoyed this video review. It's the first of many. If I finish a game, I'll try to do a video review for it. And as always, be sure to like and subscribe and support the channel, and I'll see you guys next time. Cheers!